Okay, we are messing with the tomatoes, and I thought that all the damage was just damage by deer, but we just found two big hornworms. One was on my shoe. Oh, she found another one. Let me show you. So there's one right there on the ground. There's one that she just cut, and there's the one that was on my shoe. And so the damage on the tomatoes was in fact from hornworms, like I was thinking, and so that could definitely still be possible for these peppers, because hornworms just, they don't discriminate. They do like nightshade, so it'd be interesting to come inspect these more when we get the morning glory out to see if there are hornworms in here or if this is all damage from the deer. My goal is to just go line by line, and so, or bed by bed, and so we're starting at the front. I'm gonna leave my peppers in the ground because peppers will keep growing all the way until the last or the first frost, which our first frost isn't scheduled to be till November. And so I'm gonna leave my peppers in the ground, and there's a couple that I don't have seeds for anymore that I may try to uproot and pot up and then try to save them inside, like overwinter them. We'll see once I get them all cleaned up with the morning glory, because right now the morning glory is like taking over the end. But the good thing with these tomato beds is that besides the morning glory at the top, there's no weeds down the middle of the bed, which you can see. And so that is really, really nice. The morning glory is coming from the outside of the garden, I believe, or the end of the bed, where there was some spots that wasn't covered, and then they grew up and it's just taking over. But it's not coming up from the middle of the bed. Same thing right here. So it's nice to know, same thing here, that where the fabric is, it's not, weeds is not growing where the fabric is, and so that is saving me some time with the garden cleanup, because the weeds aren't where the fabric is growing, it's where the fabric is not growing, if that makes sense, which is really, really nice. It just does give me, oh wow, it just does give me, I got distracted, it gives me a sense of direction next year, knowing that it would work to put fabric down, because I was able to grow in it, and like beds that I didn't put fabric, like this one is really, really weeded. I got distracted because that comfrey at the end of the bed, I realized, was all chomped down, and I was about to say how, and obviously it was the deer that ate the comfrey down like that. But it's just good to know the differences between, like, say, this bed that has the fabric and then the bed right next to it that I didn't put fabric, but I thought that I was going to be able to plant enough in those beds, so that, because I didn't want to have to move the comfrey, but I could have, and the trellises was already here too, but I guess I could have technically put fabric down all the way until the comfrey, and then just plant around it. But now I have to clean out the whole bed. But I'm glad I don't have to clean out every single bed in my garden, because beds that have the fabric, or beds that was really, really thickly covered, like this green bean bed that I showed in my last video, beds like that, there's no weeds growing. It is the next day, and we have to get ready to go back outside. We finished that first day of garden cleanup, and it's the next morning. I've been trying to make a habit out of making dinner either in the crock pot, Instapot, or just really quick meals. Mostly using the crock pot or the Instapot in the morning, so that dinner's ready, because I do not like making dinner. So I am making cheeseburger casserole for the first time. I'm putting it in this pan. I've never made it before, but I wrote down a list of recipes I wanted to try, and wrote it down for like a month. And cheeseburger casserole could have been made in the Instapot, so that is why I chose this one. But then when I looked up the recipe today, I found a different recipe that was not for the Instant or the crock pot, and I wanted to try it because this one had noodles and the one originally did not have noodles. So since I had extra time, I changed my mind and doing the oven one, and then it will just be ready when we come back later for dinner. So this has mozzarella and sharp cheese that Nehemiah just shredded. Thank you, iClever, for sending us these headphones. We're on our 3rd week of homeschooling, and the girls have been loving them to listen to their audiobooks each morning for school. What do you like about the headphones?
They're comfy, and they don't have a wire.
What about you, Nia?
They are comfy, and they can glow. So I really like them.
Oh, yeah. And you said something about a button.
Well, there's a pause button and a light button, and then you have to hold the turn off button for like 4 seconds.
That's cool.
Yep.
If you are in the market for your kids some headphones, or if you even need some headphones, I've seen reviews on Amazon where adults were actually using these headphones. I will have a link to them down in the description box. We have them in pink, purple, and blue. I don't know, Niles is over there. She's not doing school right now, but they have been the best thing for homeschooling this year because, like my girl said, one, they do not have wires, so they don't have to stay with their laptop. They can like set their laptop down and still listen, and then also it can transition to your phone, so Anaya is able to even use them as Bluetooth headphones for her cell phone when she wants to listen to music and stuff. And then also I have my girls listening to audiobooks this year, and they listen at different speeds, whether one gets up to go potty or whatever the case. And so although they listen to the same audiobook, I wanted them to be able to listen separately just in case one finishes faster, and that's been the case. And so I've loved these headphones for them listening to their audiobooks. And they just finished Little Woman, and now they're starting on another audiobook today. And so these headphones are perfect. Like I said, if you're in the market for some comfy headphones for your kids, they do have ones that have wires. They come with all different colors. Nehemiah wants to show you. They even have some cat ear ones here, wireless, and then they have ones that wires, and they come in all these different colors. So like I said, link in the description box. It is the same day. I just changed my clothes because it got really hot outside and I wasn't expecting it to get as hot as it did, so I needed to change back into shorts instead of sweatpants. Okay, these were the beds that we were adding in. I'm so excited with how this looks, where there's no weeds in the middle because there's cardboard right underneath here. Same thing right here, we put cardboard down the middle. So the only place that was really growing weeds is the outsides where there was soil showing. So this is where we stopped, down there where the weeds are. But there's not any more deer or rabbit poop in the pathways, so telling me that that's a good sign that no more deer has been in the garden since the past week, since we've been cleaning it out. I want to show you guys something that I really beginning to think. I planted a rose. I planted a rose right here, but that's been growing up and I've been waiting for it to bud, and it has not. And so now, like, I've been waiting for it to bloom and it has not bloomed. And so I'm really beginning to think, and especially with how big the trunk is, it's like literally now around my hand, like not even my grapevines trunks are that big. I'm really beginning to think that that is not a rose One, because even if it was a rose, the rose I planted was not supposed to get bigger than 5 feet. I think it was like 4 to 6 feet. And then two, it has not bloomed. And yeah, I don't think this is a rose, but I'm not sure what it is. It's definitely a tree. And now I'm concerned because it is so thick and it legit looks like
Mommy,
a tree.
watch out for the ant pile.
Yeah, there's an ant pile there too, and so I'm so
And
concerned
there's
with
an
that.
ant pile right there. So I got the ant pile
You guys
there.
let me know. Definitely now thinking about having to cut it down and then get all those roots out is like gonna be a nightmare. But I really thought that that was my rose tree.
That's not
Oh, I said rose tree, but I meant my rose bush. I thought that was my rose bush, and when I realized it wasn't, it's just been this past summer. Okay.
Mommy,
I think we're just going to start working on the next 2 rows.
you mean these 2 rows?
That is what is more concerning to me.
Better not be a homegrown. I wish you'd jump on your sock next time.
Like, you can't really tell, but this bed's covered, so I don't think the weeds are coming from this bed. This is where I had my watermelons, but I think it's coming from around it. And I don't know how it turned into, hey, come out of there please, because I don't know if there's a snake. And that bed is supposed to be half covered, but it literally doesn't look like it. This bed also is supposed to be covered, and it doesn't look like it. The second bed is covered, but yeah, that doesn't even look like an asparagus bed. This whole area back here is just gonna need a big redo. You may be thinking that it would be so much easier to keep up with weeds if I had a schedule, or wondering why didn't I keep up with these weeds, and it would just be so much easier for me to maintain them. But at the end of the garden season, after I've harvested everything that I needed to harvest, it just got really hot in the month of really by August I was done, and I wanted to spend that last month that I had with Aiden before he left me. And so I was really not doing any garden work. I was just trying to it was my birthday, his birthday, him leaving, getting ready for him to leave, his finishing his college classes and everything. And so we were not gardening. And so this is what happens to a neglected garden. But I knew that once he left, that the girls and I would get it back in order. And so that is what we're doing now. Okay, we've only been out here 30 minutes, but we, for the most part, cleared this bed. The weeds weren't, the weeds that you see on top is not in the ground. The weeds were not growing on top of the landscape fabric or through the landscape fabric. They were growing at the sides where the beds had soil poking out, and then they kind of just trailed on top of the soil. And then since there is soil underneath the landscape fabric, they were trying to hold on to the landscape fabric. Same thing with here. There is landscape fabric here, but the weeds were growing in the corners, like right here, and out the sides, wherever there's soil exposed, and then they were growing on top of the landscape fabric. We've only been out here 30 minutes, but we were able to clear that bed in that 30 minutes. It's really hot. I wasn't expecting it to get this sunny today. So I feel pretty good with the progress that we did in that area. It makes me feel better knowing that the landscape fabric did do its job. It's the weeds that are her. It's where there's exposed soil, and it's because if you throw soil on top of landscape fabric, anything can still grow on it. Same thing, which is why when I've expanded my beds, although there's landscape fabric underneath it about 6 inches deep, I know that the plants won't have a problem, because if you put soil on top of landscape fabric, plants can still grow in it. And so that's what's happening over in those back beds. Is some of them do have landscape fabric, but it looks like it doesn't, because where there's exposed soil, or whether that's in the circle that I burned, because that is the watermelon and the winter squash bed, they can still grow out and then grow on top, and those are like trailing weed grass vines. But it's really, really hot at the back of the garden. It's shaded up here and it's shaded in this area, but this area is we've already worked on this area, and so I don't need to work on this area. And I have to leave. This is the only time that I had available today to work on the garden. So like I'm gonna continue saying, the weeding saga is gonna have to continue into another day. We have to get ready to go to pick up Nehemiah from theater class and stuff like that. So I'll have to see you guys on my next video, which will probably be outside again, or a mixture of homeschooling and outside. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.